me and welcoming Senator Casey.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Ismail. Thank you for doing all the work that brought us together tonight. And I'm especially happy to be here tonight, not only to talk about some of the work that we're doing in Washington, but also to celebrate this. Maybe I should hold this, huh? Might be easier.
I think we can hear that. That's all right.
Oh, just stay there. Good. I won't touch it. If it falls down, I'll call you. But no, I was saying I'm especially happy that tonight is an event where not only I have the chance to meet and talk with a number of physicians. Certainly happy the physicians are here, but it's even better that your family's here. That there are sons and daughters and wives and members of your family that are with us tonight. That makes an event like this all the better, that we can celebrate this way, because in so many ways, I think especially the young people in this audience, the children and all those who are young or feel young, should be very proud tonight, because you're able to come together as not just Pakistani American physicians, but as Pakistani Americans in general, and celebrate all of the achievements of the people in this room. Each and every table, almost every seat, you could tell a story about what you've had to overcome just to get where you are now. You've had to overcome not just barriers of language or barriers of discrimination in some cases, but barriers over which you had to surmount that are sometimes as simple as academics. A lot of you had to study hard to get where you are today. And you should be very proud of that. And on nights like tonight, I know sometimes you don't do that. You keep moving and you're busy and your lives are busy. But you should be very proud. And your children and your spouses should be very proud, because you've had to overcome things in your lives that I didn't have to be concerned with when I was growing up. By the time I came along, for example, Irish Americans were more accepted. My ancestors had hurdles to overcome. My grandfather, who started in the anthracite coal mines, Alphonsus Casey his name was, he started working the mines as a young boy, just like a lot of kids at that age, at the turn of the century, a little after. I didn't have to do that. My father went ahead of me, and my parents together gave us a great life in our home and our community. They gave us life and love. They helped educate us. They set a good example, and they set us on a path that we've been on. 7 brothers and sisters, and now my wife and I have 4 daughters. But I had advantages that a lot of people in this room didn't have. So you had to overcome and achieve more than I had to, and you should be very proud of that. And I think you should be very proud that you have an association that celebrates not just those achievements, but it's an organization, an association that's pointed toward the future, despite all of the challenges that you have to, in many cases, to get a medical degree. That's hard to do. I could never do it. Believe me, I couldn't do it. I'm not real good in the sciences. That would be a little bit of an impediment not to getting a degree, a medical degree. But also, so many other challenges that you've had to overcome. So you should be very proud, and your children and your family should be proud as well. You know, Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of this country, said when he was a very old man, he wrote this when he was in his 80s, he said, "I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past." So if a man in his 80s can say that, one of our founding fathers, it makes a lot of sense for us to be focused on the future here in the United States, the future of the relationship that we have between the 2 countries that are celebrated tonight, both the United States and Pakistan. And I know it hasn't been easy lately, and I try to stay very close to this. I'm chairman of a Foreign Relations Subcommittee that has all of the Middle East, which is in the news these days, to make an understatement, but also South and Central Asia. So Pakistan and Afghanistan and India and so many other countries are part of that subcommittee. And it's been very difficult lately. The people of Pakistan have had to endure all of the violence that we read about sometimes in the paper from people within Pakistan, creating instability at times. They've had to deal with a flood not too long ago, a number of months ago. Had to deal with an assassination of a governor recently, and all of the pressures and all of the heartache that goes with that. And then more recently, our two countries have had a fight about an American official who was detained, and they're trying to work out an arrangement to have him be sent back to the United States. So there's been a lot of tension, a lot of difficulty, and we shouldn't just forget about that. We shouldn't just gloss over it, because it's real life, and we have to acknowledge that. But there's also been a lot of work and cooperation and progress. For example, our intelligence, the sharing of intelligence between the Pakistani government and the United States is much better than it was several years ago. Thank goodness for that, because it helps both countries. The work that's been done to bring our two countries together, as the doctor mentioned, the so-called Kerry-Lugar bill, which started as the Biden-Lugar when Vice President Biden was in the Senate. It didn't get passed when he was in the Senate. He became Vice President, then John Kerry took over the chairmanship, and now the Kerry, Lugar, and Berman, Congressman Berman from the House, came together. We passed legislation to help the people of Pakistan, and it's all non-military aid. Sometimes all we read about in the paper is what's happening in the fight against terrorism, or the fight to make sure that there's more security within Pakistan or even within the region. But this package of $7.5 billion was all non-military, so that we can do our part to try to help the people of Pakistan progress. Because the most important thing we can do to help any country, but especially a country like Pakistan, is to do everything we can to make sure that more people are educated, that there's better health care, that there are better services, to build families and communities like the one that you have here in South Central Pennsylvania. So we've got a long way to go. That money is just beginning to be spent. And you'll have lots of people complaining about it not getting to the right people, or it's not working. There's all kinds of reasons that people complain in Washington or otherwise. But we should be happy about the fact that our two countries are working better together today than they were for a lot of years. I'm not saying it's not without its problems, and this recent thing is a source of great tension. But one of the obligations I have in the Senate is to do everything possible to build and strengthen that relationship. And that's why on a regular basis I talk to Ambassador Haqqani. I just had breakfast with him about 10 days ago, because it's very important that people in the Senate, the House, and the administration stay in touch with representatives of the Pakistani government. So I wanted to tell you that because it's important. It's important to me, it's important to our country, and I think it's important to a lot of Americans. So, we also have